It's after 7 p.m. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of Worcester City Council being held here this Monday, February 2nd. We are live in council chambers and also live streamed on YouTube. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, February 17th, due to President's Day. And with that, Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on those who are in attendance.
Mr. Abernathy.
Here.
Mr. Gaffey. Mr. Huzay.
Here.
Mr. Malta. Mr. Owens.
Here.
Mr. Paul.
Here.
Ms. Warden. Here.
Yes, Mr. Gaffey and Mr. Malta had indicated last meeting, or the meeting before, that they were not going to be able to be here this evening due to work commitments. So we still have a quorum, and our agenda will remain as presented. At this time, I'll ask you to stand and please join the members of City Council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have from council a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Huzay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Move on to communications from the mayor administration.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. We have a big crowd tonight, maybe the biggest crowd that we've ever had here during my time on council and as mayor. And I don't think there's a single person here that came to hear me talk. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn this over to Chief Fisher and let him run with it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. Normally it's just me here, so I appreciate y'all being here tonight. Our first award is for Tom Sirica. He was nominated for the Worcester Police Department Life Saving Award by Sergeant Simmons. On January 1st, 2026, at approximately 8 o'clock, you and MPO Moss and sheriff deputies were dispatched to Wooster Memorial Park for a suicidal female. Upon your arrival, you provided the deputies with directions to the trail and then began running down the trail yourself to locate the victim. It didn't take long for you to locate her, and when you did, she was already standing on the outside of the bridge with a rope tied around her neck and the bridge railing. You immediately initiated a conversation with the distraught woman in a calm and personable tone. As you continued speaking to her, you approached her slowly, closing the distance between the two of you. When the opportunity arose, you took decisive action and intervened to help the distraught woman. You lifted her over the railing and placed her back on the walkway of the bridge, preventing her from harming herself. Based on this nomination submitted to me by Sergeant Simmons outlining your actions at this incident, you are to be commended for your quick thinking and decisive response. Your actions are in keeping with the highest traditions of law enforcement and the Worcester Police Department, and it's with great pleasure that I award you the Worcester Police Department's Life Saving Award. State Representative Meredith Craig, because she has a
Well, hey everyone, I'm just honored to be here. Appreciate the city, chief reaching out, allowing me the opportunity. Clearly, there's a lot of folks here to honor you today. We appreciate everything you've done. On behalf of the Ohio 77th House District, I'm pleased to extend special recognition to Patrolman Tom Sirica for the heroic efforts he displayed in saving the life of a local woman. An officer with the Worcester Police Department, you demonstrated remarkable presence of mind, professionalism, and compassion while responding to a suicide threat at Wooster Memorial Park. Upon locating individuals standing outside the railing of a bridge, you approached calmly and engaged her in conversation, maintaining control of an extremely dangerous situation. The recipient of the Worcester Police Department Life Saving Award, you are certainly to be commended for your efforts. Through your patience, sound judgment, and decisive action, you safely intervened and prevented a tragic loss of life. At a time when many might hesitate, you acted with courage and humanity, earning the gratitude of the individual and her family, as well as the respect and admiration of the entire community. Thus, with great pleasure, we applaud you on your bravery and salute you as an outstanding Ohio citizen. Thank you.
Connor, you're up. So this nomination letter for Connor was written by Sergeant Clint Bartola. It's with great respect and admiration that I recommend Patrolman Connor Orr for the Award of Honor that is held in the highest regard in our department. And I will tell you, in 15 years as chief, I've never given this before. It's a first. On April 2nd, 2025, at approximately 16:49, Patrolman Orr performed a traffic stop on a silver 2003 Honda Pilot sport utility vehicle in which the registered owner was driving under suspension. This vehicle also matched the description of a vehicle who led officers on a pursuit earlier in that day. The vehicle came to a complete stop just south of North Guyers Chapel Road. Approximately 3 seconds later, the driver emerged from the driver's side car door and opened fire at Patrolman Orr in his police cruiser. 2 of the first 4 rounds struck the windshield. 1 of the rounds hit right behind the steering wheel dashboard while Patrolman Orr was in the driver's seat. So I have a video of that.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Oh yeah, signal 99, shots fired, 49.
Patrolman Orr took evasive action and ducked down low inside the police cruiser to protect himself. He radioed his fellow officers in dispatch. Clearly, the shots were being fired. When the shots ended, Patrolman Orr immediately, and I stress immediately, exited his cruiser, drew his sidearm, and steadily and tactfully returned fire. A later investigation found that Patrolman Orr had struck his attacker prior to him pulling away from the scene. Patrolman Orr then returned to the inside of his cruiser and prepared to give chase. Unfortunately, his cruiser had sustained too much damage from the multiple gunshots and was rendered inoperable. It made it only a few feet before expiring. Patrolman Orr showed great courage by attempting to coordinate a pursuit response to this incident. He wanted nothing more than to continue his involvement, capture the suspect, and stop the evil that this individual had brought to our community. He was greatly disappointed when he was informed that he himself could no longer be in the fight. Patrolman Orr was faced with a deadly scenario that few, if any of us, have ever experienced. He responded according to his training, communicated well, and did not panic considering the circumstances. Patrolman Orr showed bravery and courageous calm during the entire incident under extraordinarily quick circumstances. It is with great respect and admiration that I commend Patrolman Connor Orr and nominate him for his actions and the Award of Honor. Sincerely, Sergeant Bartola. Now that one Connor knew about. This one he doesn't know about. Okay? This is the only nomination letter I got. Okay? I want to take this opportunity to recommend Patrolman Connor Orr for the 2025 Officer of the Year Award. Within the past year, Patrolman Orr has continued providing outstanding service to the community. He's also diligently sought out criminal activity, particularly narcotics, and the never-ending search for search warrants. The never-ending search for warrant arrests. Sorry, I misspoke. Patrolman Orr led the entire department in response and productivity. He made 372 traffic stops, in which the majority were drug-related. He made 112 warrant arrests, 23 on-view arrests, for a total of 135 arrests. Patrolman Orr investigated 44 traffic crashes, as well as 222 recorded incident reports. A typical day for him is leaving the station early and staying late and longer than is often expected or desired. Patrolman Orr's service also stretches to the community outreach. For the past 3 years, he has volunteered as the safety chairman of the Boys and Girls Club. Here, Patrolman Orr assists workers with various activities, including holiday parties. Patrolman Orr shares his time with this program in addition to being a devoted husband and father. And in alternative events that we just talked about, Patrolman Orr was also involved in a profound, life-threatening event while on duty. In addition to being this year's most highly productive officer and a community volunteer, Patrolman Orr was faced with a deadly scenario that few, if any of us, have ever experienced. He responded according to his training, communicated well, didn't panic, showed bravery and courageous calm during the entire incident under extraordinarily quick circumstances. It's with great respect and admiration that I commend Patrolman Connor Orr for his work ethic, professionalism, and acts of bravery in 2025. I highly recommend him for Officer of the Year. Congratulations, Officer.
So again, an honor to be here on behalf of the Ohio House of Representatives, 77th House District, Patrolman Connor Orr, for your extraordinary bravery, professionalism, and courage in the line of duty. And I think those words can't even explain the situation that you found yourself in. An officer with the Wooster Police Department, you demonstrated an exceptional presence of mind, of which you can be proud by reacting capably in a crisis situation. In April 2025, you initiated a traffic stop when you were suddenly and without warning fired upon in close range. Despite rounds striking your patrol vehicle, you acted with remarkable composure, immediately alerting fellow officers and returning fire to stop the threat. Your actions under direct and deadly assault reflect extraordinary courage and dedication to duty. The recipient of this Wooster Police Department Award of Honor and Officer of the Year. You are certainly to be commended for your efforts. Your willingness to place yourself in harm's way in service of others exemplifies the highest standards of law enforcement. Our community is safer because of your courage, and we are deeply grateful for your service. Thus, with great honor, we commend you for your bravery and salute you as an outstanding Ohio citizen. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I have no more awards to give.
It's hard to top that.
It is. It's very hard to top that.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. Appreciate, we have a lot of people in uniform and out of uniform here. Truly Worcester's finest, and we have a representative of the force. So glad to have you on our team and what you do for our community. Thank you for coming.
And you don't need to stay.
Oh, come on. Everybody wants to see us.
Hard to top that.
Yeah, I was just like, we have to follow that?
We might as well call it a night. I just feel like we should have left.
You are looking at an IT policy, cybersecurity policy. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if the mayor can top that.
If I was smarter, I'd just shut her down.
I think we should all cut her
But I'm
down.
not, yeah.
Connor was also the first one to me that did my brand blew up.
Oh, really?
I worked with him for 3 years on Boys and Girls Club. He's outstanding. He's just,
Pillar's here to testify
we're
again.
fortunate to have him.
Amazing.
That's good.
I think it's off like about
Going about 360.
Says the construction slash
Jonathan?
architect OCD guy.
I got my tape in my truck. We can go check.
Sure you do.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and continue. That was a fantastic presentation, and to point, Mr. Mayor, I mean, we've got some really great police people, so that's,
We do. We have, and again, this was all about with some Worcester police officers and them, but that, our quality employees are not limited to that department.
absolutely
We
not.
have them throughout the city, and we're very proud of them. Again, this is going to be very anticlimactic at this point, but a quick rundown of the last 2 weeks. We did 2 sessions with Worcester Community Hospital. I think everybody made one or the other. Jen and Tyler and Mr. Sanders and Drew did both.
No, I did not do both.
Oh, okay, I'm
No,
sorry.
Jen did the one.
Jen did the one. Everybody called
Yeah.
one. The one thing, I think it's good for, particularly maybe the new people, to have a little refresher of the relationship between the city and Worcester Community Hospital and how it's a joint community enterprise involving some, but not all, the townships in Wayne County. Also, the thing that he mentioned that I'll kind of focus on is that the payer mix is so important to the financial health of the hospital. And for the same reasons as a city that we're chasing and going after that young workforce family or individual, it's not just important to us financially as a city, but it's important to the hospital, it's important to our employers. So we're making a concerted effort to pursue that. And it's not just because we like having young families and kids, because it feels like more of a community, but financially, we need that to survive.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
And I should have asked it there, and I forgot to ask it. Is the hospital seeing an influx of more cash payers? There's new, I don't want to call them insurance plans, but benefit plans, and I know the predominant one is called Sidecar, which is essentially acts as a self-pay. It has a deductible, but it works as like a cash payment plan, and it's a pay up front type of deal. Do you know if the hospital is seeing more of that? Because I know that they kind of mentioned, man, I wish we saw more of those. And I know those are becoming more prevalent to work around traditional insurance these days.
I can get you, I don't know the answer to that. Jason, Laura would be the one. Oh, go ahead.
I do, because my company has started to offer that, and so I, in our benefits meeting, I reached out to Scott at the hospital, and he said no, and he said to be very cautious about those plans, in fact, that there's a lot of pitfalls involved in them where you can find yourself really, I guess, owing a great deal of money, and that hospitals are oftentimes not open to taking on those types of plans because there's no real guarantee that they're going to see the payment.
I know our workplace used it for a year, and it was really, really good for certain things, but if you have special needs, it becomes very challenging. But it was very curious because they did make the comment like, man, we just wish people could just pay cash or credit card. And I was like, well, there is that option out there.
I think the truth of the matter is that from a practical standpoint, even though we get billed for our co-pays, we all do, and things like that, from a practical matter, what they don't get from Medicare or Medicaid or private insurance almost is negligible. The out-of-pocket payments are, again, they can be important to me or to you when it's coming out of our pocket, but in terms of the overall hospital receipts, I don't know they move the needle that much.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, you also talked about our wonderful city employees. No exception at the hospital. That was evident in the statistics that they went over. I know that there are shortages everywhere in the healthcare system, and the only thing I'd like to say to the public is that if you have a relative who's looking for a great opportunity and a great place to live, we can use you at Worcester Community Hospital. And it's a well-run organization. You'll be taken care of, and we'd love to have you here.
On behalf of Scott Boys, thank you for that message. Yeah, recruitments, and again, it's kind of a symbiotic thing, as he said. And that's what part of our challenge is we want to provide quality of life. We want to provide housing opportunities to recruit, whether it's at the hospital, whether it's at, Scheffler, you name it. We want to make this a community where people come to, because the demographics show, over the next 20 years, Ohio is going to lose population and Wayne County is projected to lose population. We want to be an exception to that trend. And there are exceptions. It's not going to be uniform throughout the state and throughout the county. Friday was the Main Street annual accreditation meeting. That was Thursday of last week. We sat through that. Then that day we had a lunch meeting with the leadership of Jarrett Logistics. Sunday was our big snow event that we are still digging out from, and I think Joel's got some comments on that.
Yeah, I had asked Kurt to provide some statistics, which I put some of those in the last memo update. And sometimes you don't realize, we actually had 9 snow events, so the one Sunday was just one of those. But we also, in that same time frame, we still picked up 200 loads of leaves, starting at the beginning of January anyway. Obviously, we stopped that before the end. But you could see there, we applied over 640 tons of salt. And so far, this just in the last 4 days, 27th through the 30th, we had hauled away over 100 dump truck loads of snow, which they were still at today, and will be for a little while. So we had a lot of snow, a lot of hours, and we came close with just one event, a couple of days that we did for some of the averages for the whole seasons in past years. So the guys did a great job. And
Joel, how are we doing on salt? I know we commended them at the last meeting, but boy, we're obviously using a lot more salt this year than we have in the past.
yeah, we're good. We continue. We haven't been have seen some of the issues some other entities. We continue to get deliveries of salt, so we actually loaned a little to Orville at one point that ran out, but we have since gotten our reserves replenished, so we're good.
Joel, does that also, our lack of issues, does that also speak to the brine making that we are doing in-house to kind of help that go further?
So it helps. It definitely helps. We can still only make so much brine when you have an event like we had. So there's only certain instances where we use that depending on temperature. So we use brine, and we still use something called beet heat, which is beet juice, a mixture as well. When it gets really, really cold, where salt won't work, so we definitely use that on some of the areas we know tend to freeze over and have issues, like some of our steeper slope roads and curves and things like that.
Speaking of that, I understand that there was a drive-through of a roundabout. Are you familiar with that? Like someone drove over through the middle of the roundabout in the surprise little squall that we had last Thursday?
I wasn't aware of one driving right through the middle, but definitely drove over the that inner part,
the cement, the red brick.
Made for that, but yeah, probably when there was a little snow.
They were very slippery. I was complaining about ODOT not taking care of 83, but then I heard that, I think it was at Milltown, that was, yeah.
They are.
They went right up. Like, good thing there wasn't that clock tower there yet.
Right.
We did get a call Monday. I think the only negative I heard is we got a call Monday morning from someone that wanted to know when their leaves are going to be picked up. And we had to explain it was going to be a while at this point. So otherwise, I think things went really well, other than some long days and long hours by our crew this week. On the 27th, we had our every other month work hog meeting, and we just decided to go to quarterly on that, I guess, because things are running pretty smoothly. It was a good opportunity as much as anything. As far as pretty much business as usual, but it was our first chance to meet with Mayor Plyben and Steve Wheeler, their Director of Administration, and talk to them about, personally, about what they went through last week. And obviously, I think, between Patrolman Orr's experience and their experience, that's pretty much the worst case scenario if as a public official, doesn't matter if you're mayor or a council person, and we obviously literally dodged a bullet there with Patrolman Orr, and unfortunately Orville's situation turned out much more tragically, and our thoughts and sympathies are with them entirely. Then on Friday was the Main Street Annual Meeting. I know we had a couple people there, and Mr. Jose was there certainly, and we did give out an award. I think Joel mentioned that at the last meeting, that we were sponsoring an award for entrepreneurship downtown. That was well received. Nice event. Looking ahead real quickly, tomorrow is Charles Follis Day. Every February 3rd, state holiday or state recognition, to be aware of that. Mr. Tursky and I are headed out to Triway tomorrow to talk to third graders. They want to know a little bit about Wooster history, and I don't know that I got the call because I'm mayor, because I'm old, but one of those two, we're going to talk to them and see how that goes.
Personal experience, that's what they're...
Personal experience. It's also the first night of the Great Decisions program at the College of Wooster. If you've never participated in that, I think it's 4 sessions, and over the next 2 months, it's a good opportunity to broaden your horizons a little bit. We're also having our first Worcester Growth meeting of the year on Wednesday, and we've got a couple things that, procedurally, some of those things go to Worcester Growth first for recommendation, will come to council in probably the following meeting, so looking forward to that. We've got a meeting Friday with Superintendent Tudor and his Board of Education president, kind of related to the Worcester Growth events, as we're trying to find common ground for the use of some of our economic development tools to make sure we're on the same page. Again, we don't want to bring anything to council that doesn't have school board support. Number one, we don't want to put the school board in a bad position, and we don't want to put council in a bad position. So hopefully that'll be a productive conversation. Friday afternoon, I think we're meeting with the Wayne County Commissioners. That's our regular quarterly meeting with them. We're doing a new higher orientation session. Covers 4 meetings or 4 programs?
It's 5 days in the whole city. Yep.
Okay, 5 days. This is the second one coming up on the 10th. Number of us are also signed up for the jail tour. On that one, I think that invitation's been extended to council as well, and hopefully a number of you will have time to take advantage of that. And then, just coincidentally, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, there's a series of open houses for Worcester Community Hospital. If you've not received one, I think the hospital's extended invitations to council to attend the VIP session on the 13th. Again, they're very excited about that. And again, we just went through that, but that new facility should be great, not just for the people that work there, but the people that are making use of the emergency room services. Joel, did I miss anything there? Okay. Looking to the agenda tonight, real quickly, we have one item on third reading, that being the proposed amendments to our residential zoning code. We have 5 new pieces of legislation on first reading. Only the last 2 are budgeted. The first 3 are not budgeted items and will require 3 readings. And since we only have 5 members here, there will be 3 readings. I'll wrap up by saying that even though the days were relatively short, January 2026 was a long and grueling month in many respects. I'm not sorry to see it go, and I'm willing to take my chances with February. If nothing else, it only has 28 days, and 2 of those are almost behind us. I want to thank everyone out there that helps to keep us safe in our community. Ensuring the safety of the citizens is the primary task of government of all levels. Sometimes the threats to public safety come from Mother Nature, sometimes from the outside the community, and sometimes from within the community. We need to deal with them all. We've been fortunate locally in recent years. Some of that might be attributed to luck, but much of it comes from having good people in place who are well-trained and well-equipped to deal with whatever comes their way. As the saying goes, you make your own luck. I believe we've successfully done that in Worcester, and I want to thank City Council for their part in that success. And finally, one happy note to close with, first day of spring is 45 days away. Oops. I asked him if he had anything else. He said no.
That's my fault.
Now he's decided he does.
I just wanted to remind you that you all got a hard copy of our winter newsletter. That'll be online, and then there will be a copy in all of the Worcester weeklies that are going to go out. We're going to see how that's received, see how that goes, try that once. And I just want to give a lot of credit to Landry McLeod, our communications and marketing manager, who put this together. She just did a great job on that. So.
And And that is all we have, Mr. President.
All right, well, thank you. The only question I've got, or that I have, is when did a notice go out about the tour of the new
Yeah, I
jail?
didn't get anything either.
I didn't get anything. I got it through Kiwanis, but I didn't get anything through the city.
I got it through Rotary.
Okay. We will,
So,
we'll fix that.
it's all right. I'm going there with the Kiwanis, so personally, that doesn't matter to me, but I just was questioning when
can
it
send
went
one
out,
out.
because I didn't see it.
All right, we'll get those out there. And I'm going to take some liberties there, because it's not my invitation, but it's commissioners. I think they've been shotgun in different groups, and I thought they'd done one out to council, but we'll
No.
take care of that.
Go get them, Amy.
I mean.
Because you're the one who'll go get them for us. Craig's too nice.
All right, well, with that, we'll move on to our petitions and communications from the public, which we have no one that signed up for that. And we do have a liquor control request, which, Ms. Hamilton, if you'll please read that for us.
We have a liquor control request for a new C1 D6 license for Bell Stores, Inc., Bell Store number 1168 at 4784 Cleveland Road, Worcester. A C1 permit allows for beer only in sealed container for carry-out only, and a D6 permit allows for the sale of wine and mixed beverages in sealed containers for carry-out on Sundays.
Want me to save you?
No, because I have a question. I see that the address on the Ohio Department of Commerce's paperwork and our paperwork don't match. So my question is...
My typo.
Which is the correct, what's that?
It's my typo.
Okay. So obviously the state's correct then.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
I
no
would
worries.
assume so.
Well, I would hope so.
No, that's my typo. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I just caught that. And I'm assuming this is the new one up at Smithsville?
Yes.
Western? Okay. So with that, we have three choices. We can either have a hearing in our county seat, we can have a hearing in Columbus, or we can request no hearing at all.
Motion to
What say
waive.
you? Motion to waive by Mr. Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of waiving the hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, no hearing. Next item, committee reports, public hearing. We have no public hearings, and at this point, I know you guys went over the committee reports last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to wait and just kind of wrap that in with the unfinished.
That's
business.
fine.
Yep.
That's absolutely fine. And with that, then, we'll move into unfinished business. Ordinance 2026-01 is third reading. And Ms. Hamilton, if you'll please read it for us.
Ordinance number 2026-01, an ordinance amending and replacing Part 11 Planning and Zoning Code of the codified ordinances of the City of Worcester, Ohio, and the official zoning map.
Mr. Uzay, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we've had a Laws and Ordinances Committee to review the changes proposed to the residential zoning code. We had a public hearing on this at the last meeting as well. The Planning Commission touched on this exhaustively. Steering Committee, go on down the line. I think we've reviewed this pretty thoroughly. I've heard nothing but positive comments on these changes as well. I think these will be welcome changes to the city code. I believe Joel made the comment, or maybe it was Mr. Marion, that our previous code kind of prohibited some of the transitional developments that we're looking at here, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, in some of the areas. So I see nothing but positives coming out of this. I did ask Mr. Marion if he could kind of refer to the maps real quick, just on the transitional districts that we are looking at implementing here. Can you just kind of go over, the colors were kind of throwing me off, so just kind of where are we looking at for these transitional zones that will kind of be the big change to come out of these, out of this residential zoning change?
Yes, Mr. Zaizak, thank you. You'll find the transition areas primarily along the major corridors and in some areas. Well, let me just start from the south and I'll go north. In the downtown or in the traditional RT district, this area here that's not red, red being the C4, or Central Business District for downtown, was designated as all RT, residential traditional. You'll see that this is still RT here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more here. And the areas where you see,
What are the colors?
this here is what the area that was designated in our comprehensive plan as the Arts District. You'll see 2 transition zones being introduced. The darker is a T2 transition, which is a little heavier use, and the lighter salmon or brown is their T1, which is your duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes that could be built in a redevelopment project. And you'll also see the transition zones in the, around the RT district where our current code allows for single-family attached dwellings today. So we've removed that designation and made those a transition district. Whether it's a T2 or a T1 is determined by the road that it fronts on, or the route or the corridor that it's on. You'll also see some transition area here. And then as you head north, we'll look at the hospital area. You'll see some introduction of the T2 here and some T1 that's currently a residential district to allow for more mixed use around the hospital corridor. And then further north, in the Milltown, Burbank area, you'll see some transition zones. On the East Milltown area, you'll see some transition zones. That'll allow for a variety of different types of development that fit in with the neighborhood, a mixture of office, commercial, and residential gathered together, as well as you're heading north here and up Route 3, you'll see some transition areas as you're exiting the city. Did that answer your question?
Very good, yep, thank you. Yeah, I was just kind of going back and forth with, my rods and cones, just trying to make sure I was getting the right zones. Yeah, so I think this will be a great addition, to Wooster. I kind of makes me scratch my head why we weren't doing this before a little bit, but we're here now. I feel good about moving this, for adoption. If anybody else has any questions, Mr. Marion obviously is he's the man.
I have a question, and I fully support this, and as you know, I've read it thoroughly. But one thing I wanted to ask is, if I were to, say, want to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and ask for my property, a property that I own, to be rezoned into a transition district, is that more difficult? Are the parameters more challenging for that because it is new, or is it still the same as every other
It would
district?
be the same process, but it'd be in front of Planning Commission.
I'm sorry, planning, yeah.
It would be in front of the Planning Commission, who will hold a hearing, and then it'll ultimately come back to City Council.
So as long as it's contiguous to the other...
It's the same exact zoning process for any other district.
Okay. No, I think it's great that we've added that. I think it's going to be beneficial to the city and the districts that we're trying to, especially the Arts District. So I look forward to seeing it in action.
I have a question. I did not sign up to speak today. Could I request to speak a few minutes at the end?
Yeah, sure. Stand up the lectern there. Oh, you want to do that in miscellaneous? All right, that's fine. Very good. All right, so we have...
Mr. Montgomery.
I couldn't remember if we mentioned this at the last one, just since you were asking about the transition zones. So this current proposal has quite a bit less transition zones than what the first proposal that we went over with at the steering committee level. So there were a lot more areas, and it was through that process, meeting with the steering committee and subsequent meetings, with individuals and and feedback that we reduced and removed some of those from certain areas, especially around the downtown. And just for the purpose of we can see how they work, and we'll see how they work, come up with some design standards, that could apply to those, and then we'll see whether we would look at some other areas or not.
Sure, and as the city grows in multiple directions, I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for, additional transitional zones.
And I think everybody's going to be looking at this and judging it by how it works. 5 years from now, will it have made a positive impact? If so, there might be less resistance in some of those areas that were originally proposed. On the other hand, if it doesn't move the needle at all, or is God forbid, a detrimental effect, then we're certainly not going to ask to expand it.
Sure. There is one last question I did forget to ask. So some of the transitional zones are obviously in the downtown area along Bowman Street. And one of the goals is to increase density. Is the current code addressing also, or the proposed changes addressing like that increased parking and how that would, obviously we don't want more cars parking on the roads than there currently are.
Yeah. In order for the redevelopment of this area to develop in a transition district, it's going to require the assembling of several parcels. And there are parking requirements associated with each of those uses.
Okay.
I do have a question as well. Obviously, this is wanting to try and drive maybe a little bit more, I don't know, to make more available housing. Are we feeling demand from maybe developers who are maybe trying to get in there and renovate homes or create some of these units that would be in the transitional districts? Or are we maybe more anticipating in order to satisfy maybe future anticipating needs? Or is there already existing needs or demands that we're trying to meet?
There are a couple of different issues that I think come up through this process. One of those is whether or not an existing structure can be converted into a multifamily structure. The initial draft allowed for that to occur anywhere in a transition district. Through those discussions, that has been removed from the T1 district. So a structure in the T1 district cannot be converted. It would take the requirement of assembling, like I said earlier, several parcels to create an area large enough for redevelopment to meet the transition design standards. In the R2, there could be, not the R2, the transition 2, there could be some conversion. Again, it would have to meet certain standards. So in terms of whether or not it's an incentive for someone to redevelop or to improve an existing home that may be sitting vacant or may have been sitting and is decaying or needs work, and the owner has a single-family structure of a 3,000 square foot home isn't able to fund the rehab for that purpose, now they can look at some options of maybe making it a multifamily type development. But again, it's going to usually take an assembly of multiple parcels.
I'm trying to think of overall demand for the change. I mean, I was trying to give examples, but it's a pretty significant change to the zoning. I'm trying to think of what drove the change.
Well, and particularly in the arts district, it's not necessarily all driven by residential, but it's also going to allow some commercial, with, again, standards that need to be met to be on the first floor of a structure with some residential above it. Today, that's not possible.
Okay.
And the same thing along the hospital, in the hospital corridor.
So more of that multi-use.
And residential above.
So part of the comprehensive plan is to try and deliver more of that multi-use commercial first floor and
Correct.
residential. And I think, again, more of my question is, are we anticipating it, or is there current demand trying to drive it, or a little bit of both?
Well, there are, we have one actually just Thursday night, somebody who wants to convert an existing, this past BZA meeting, we had someone who wanted to convert an existing house into a multifamily that was not approved.
Okay.
We have another that wants to redevelop a lot in the RT district, but it's not meeting the architectural standards, so they're requesting a variance.
Okay.
That'll be this Thursday night.
Real quick, as far as data goes, we did our comprehensive plan, and just the data there showed that we were lacking a lot of that missing middle of housing, and that we needed more apartments and rentals of various types to meet different, demographics and different needs. Then we participated with Atlantic Development Council to do a specific housing study. And that was driven by data and workforce, but also on both of those had a lot of public input, and they requested, the WDC one, for example, said, if you don't live here but you work here, what kind of housing would you like to see, or would it take for you to move here? And so that drove a whole bunch of data, and it showed that, and they went down to the level of Worcester, Wayne County, but Worcester itself, you need this many single-family homes in this price range. You need this many two-bedroom apartments in this rent range, all the way down the line. So it showed a deficit in almost every area. So, some of the things like the annexations that we're doing, some of the changes to the zoning were all geared in response to those needs and those studies and the feedback we got from the public.
Okay, thank you.
And you're also going to, if I may interject some more, you're also going to see, some of this is going to end up with smaller actual individual living units, and that's coinciding with the size of our households of 2 people, in a lot of cases, less than 2 people, 1, and then hopefully that allows options for maybe some of our senior population to move into a smaller unit, opening up that house for new family development.
It does raise just one more question, because I personally, I do like the commercial on the bottom with residential on top, but do you think that the city, and this could also be a question for you, Joel, has the even current or future demand to have that much commercial? And do we have the flexibility through this zoning that if it doesn't work out, that we're not going to have that much commercial, that other residential structures can be built on these in this zoning plan? Like, I know the answer, I want to just put it out there to the public.
Sure, yeah, there's flexibility there, and as the mayor mentioned, we're going to take the next year, probably 2 years, to study the effects of how this is working, and if we need to make edits or tweaks to it, that is in my 5-year plan to do.
And I'm correct in saying, just because it's in a mixed-use area does not require commercial usage. I mean, you can-
Correct.
Or, if you build it commercial and it doesn't fly, you could convert it to residential.
And I'm just glad you guys are saying that, because the few questions I've gotten from the public has been confused in that, and they haven't understood that. And so that's kind of why I wanted to have that particular conversation, so that people do understand that it's not necessarily, it has to be that mixed use. There is flexibility within that zoning plan.
And if I could add one thing to clarify something Vince said with regards to the conversion of existing units, and he said it would not be permitted or would not be allowed in a T1 neighborhood. That means it wouldn't be allowed within the zoning code. The variance procedure is still there. We didn't change the variance procedure in any way. The variance procedure is BZA. That's where you go and say, because of the zoning requirements, you need to make an exception for me from the zoning requirements because of my unique circumstances. And we're not touching that. We legally couldn't touch that because it's protected by the Constitution. So in the right circumstances, somebody could still apply to convert a single family to multifamily. Again, they'd have to hit all the criteria that are there now in the code. And that, again, that's not being changed at all. So if somebody comes to you and says, wait a minute, you told me they couldn't do this anymore under the new zoning code. Well, that didn't get changed. It's still possible under the right circumstances if the applicant makes the right showing.
And thank you for pointing that out too, because that's been another one that's been a big confusion, is the confusion has been that, oh, you're creating this and they're going to take all these homes and turn them into duplexes, and we're going to have all these jammed duplexes and triplexes through this. And there's just, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. There has been a lot of confusion around this, and so it's clarifying some of the small details so that people can understand that stuff like you just said, it's rumor, it's not true, and there is flexibility within the plan still, but we're not making these massive changes where all these houses are turning into duplexes and triplexes all of a sudden. So I appreciate the clarity on that and doing it in the public manner, so thank you.
Maybe I should have said this too. It's important to note, the RT district is not going away. It's still in this proposed, as it stands now, zoning code change.
Mr. Marion, I've had a chance to look at the data, and I just want to get something on the record. I've had several people approach me in the last couple of weeks about this, and that is the zoning respective to where Cornerstone and the old high school is. At some point, that building's going to come down. Where are we in terms of zoning for that particular parcel?
Well, the zoning is not being altered.
Okay. So specifically by not being altered,
I mean, it's zone CF community facilities.
that's all I wanted to hear. Thank you.
okay.
I just wanted it on the record, that's all. Okay.
There's probably been rumors that it's been changed.
That's exactly why I wanted it on the record. Thank you.
People, there's rumors flying around everywhere about stuff that's not true.
Welcome to government.
Yes.
I guess to that end too, Mr. Marion, am I mistaken? Should City Hall not be Zone CF or like the community center?
Well, we are zoned, I believe, C1. We are in a commercial district here where we're sitting. The community center is, I believe, where are we here? And it's right here.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Oh, I'm too far up. Yeah, right in here.
Here.
Yep. That's in the C4 Central Business District. It's an appropriate use for that zoning.
Yeah, I guess it just, in my head, I thought being a public facility, they
Oh.
would be CF zoned, but neither here nor there. If there's no other questions, I would move to approve, Mr. President.
Motion to adopt, second by Ms. Warden. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Ms. Warden. Yes. Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Owens.
Yes.
Mr. Paul.
Yes.
All right. Well, we've got a new zoning code. Let's see what happens. All right, move into new business. Ordinance 2026-03. Ms. Hamilton, would you please read it for us?
Ordinance number 2026-03, an ordinance amending Chapter 925 storm drainage of the codified ordinances of the City of Wooster, Ohio.
Mr. Huzay, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this kind of dovetails off of the residential zoning that we just approved. I will just kick this off to Mr. Montgomery, who will explain this far more eloquently than I will.
Okay, it's really not that significant of a change. You know, part of the code that we just approved changes some of the area requirements for R1, and it's smaller than that. And when we originally, I think it was in the late 80s, when we adopted our stormwater utility, it was based on a standard number of square feet, you know, in an R1, and everything was based off of a percentage of that. And if you notice in the changes there, you notice that R1 was one based on 3,050 square feet, and then all the rest of them were based on a 60% of that. So this change is based, since that R1 is now coming down, we're just saying 60% of that. That way we can leave everything else the same. And we're not changing, you know, that doesn't change. I think I had them do calculations to make sure we weren't impacting any residential as far as utility goes. And it was within 1 to 2%, depending on where you were at. So that didn't really affect it. The 90 cents is a stormwater maintenance fee. That's just a flat one, and that one was part of the fees that we did about a month or so ago.
So yes, if you all will recall this, because in the residential zoning code, we kind of did away with the old R1. So it's kind of piggybacks off of that. And Mr. Montgomery, do you anticipate other kind of findings in the codified ordinances related to kind of tinkering with that zoning a little bit?
I hope
Or
not,
is this
but
just
I'm
a
not going
work
to
in
promise that. This one we sort of saw coming because we knew this was very clear that we were going to have, a change in the R1. But I hope not. They really aren't having major changes in other, even in the overall zoning code. So hopefully we're not going to see anything.
Very good. And I guess we must leave this on first reading tonight.
Yep, all right. So it's had its first reading. We'll move on to ordinance 2026-04. Ms. Hamilton, if you please read it for us.
Ordinance number 2026-04, an ordinance amending Chapter 160, bidding procedures and contract requirements, Section 160.03 bidding procedures of the codified ordinances of the City of Worcester, Ohio, by increasing the competitive threshold in accordance with Section 9.17 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we're looking to try and get aligned with the Ohio Revised Code. Right now, we have a static 75,000 that has to come to council. We don't have any inflationary increases built in. We're looking to go to what the Ohio Revised Code is, which is a 3% annual. And so, for example, if we were to go by what the annual increase is, and I believe it kicked in 2024, we'd be at 79,568. So not that much of a difference from where we're at. So they're really just inflationary adjustments. It reduces these smaller requests that come to council over time. Honestly, it just allows the city to operate a little bit more efficiently. And really, I can't recall really any bids of that size that we said no to anyway. So I know we can't vote on it tonight. It's not a budgeted item, but something that I do hope that we can move forward in the next meeting or two and get our ordinances on the same page as Ohio Revised Code and have those built-in inflation adjustments and just be a little bit more efficient. So with that, if there's some questions for Mr. Montgomery, I can open that up.
For a point of clarification, this actually became, this is what, 2 years now? That the state had increased these amounts. So basically, this is now, technically, this is the third time that we've seen this. We'd ran it through 2 other times previously, and at that point, it was advised by certain council members not to proceed with this amount. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, as many times as we've had just in the last year, we've had these little bumps where we've got a contract that's at 50, and then something needs to be ordered extra, and then all of a sudden it goes above 50, and then we're back looking at the same piece of legislation, or the modified version of the legislation for the additional money. And at this point, it really makes no sense. I mean, everything costs more. I mean, the Chief's Cruiser tonight's going to pretty much bust that on one vehicle, so at the end of the day, we might as well get there now. But, yeah, so in any event,
We'll leave it on first reading.
Real quick, are there any mechanisms for, I can't imagine we're just going to increase the bid limit 3% every year. I mean,
So the way the Ohio Revised Code that I referenced here is, it's established by the Department of Commerce, and then, so they publish it every year, the 3%, I think is the max. And so that, I put that piece of paper in, I think it's in your, so it's not something that we set, it's something that the state sets. And so they publish every year, here's what the bid amount is. And so for instance, this was just the one they just issued in January. That's where the 79,568 came from. So that's how every other village and township and county and statutory city, right now, that's how they operate. They are all at 79,568 right now.
it may not necessarily be every other charter city, but to your point, every other statutory city or county that operates under that, this applies to them.
Right, because we have a charter and ordinances, we specifically set, we can either comply with ORC or we can set our own. To date, we've set our own, which is static at 75. It does not move with everything else at the state.
okay.
Joel, has Wayne County Has Wayne County already adopted this?
Well, they're
You know,
statutory, so
They're
as soon as that law
statutory.
went into place, they've already.
Automatically all statutory,
So
okay.
last year, they were at 77 and some change, or whatever that was, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure the next pandemic or recession, we weren't still increasing the bid limit 3% or
So essentially, we're keeping up with the
1.5%.
Joneses.
Right, and like I said, the state sets this, so it's not some number we came up with. Yep, good question.
Any additional questions?
And so this is just an increase for this year?
It would be
Or
annual.
it locks us into whatever the state
Yeah,
makes it, okay.
The wording we requested just adopts the state's language.
Okay. And, Mr. President, you said this has come before council before, and it's been shut down previously?
Yes.
Well, we raised it, but we raised it,
To another fixed amount.
I mean,
Yeah.
things kept getting more expensive.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of stuff.
Fair enough.
You know, council's not surrendering authority on this one, like other thing, if a future council or this council next fall decides this is a bad idea, we want to go back to 75, that's fully within your power. You could roll it back to 50, you know. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know, but if it just governs the amount of legislation you see, probably is the biggest thing. Because there's stuff that we have to come back to you for that you wouldn't otherwise see. You'd see the expenditure, but you wouldn't have to act on it.
If I could interject, I think that as this body, you know, we control the purse strings, and we see big dollar legislation, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And this is, I speak only out of my opinion only, there has to be a level of trust that they can operate on some smaller dollar items, which, you know, it used to be 50, now it's 75. Ohio Revised Code is, the state is saying, hey, we trust cities to operate within this dollar amount. And sometimes I get worried that as a group, I don't want us to feel like we're overcooking the egg here, that we know something that the state doesn't. You know, the state has obviously said, this is how confident we are in city governments to be able to handle that. So that's my general feeling on it. You know, so I want efficiencies as much as we can without trying to institute too much control. So that's just my opinion, though.
Joel, can I ask for next council's meeting, you to pull some examples where having raised the threshold would have prevented, you know, us from having to go back through the bid process or coming back to us with, oh, yeah, we had to add, you know, this thing, right, where we went with the original person anyways, right?
The easy thing I can do is I did all that, and I can send you what I sent
Okay.
to council. There was just a list of common things, you know, and so you can probably pretty easily look at that and say, okay, here's a few things that probably bumped over.
You might still have the email you sent to Mr. Myers a year ago.
Yeah, I'll start there, and because I think it answers your question, and you'll see things. I think even in there, I said, and here's a few things that might bump over. I can guarantee you they bumped over at this
It was
point.
just a few meetings ago that we, I think, had to do that to pay for,
Yes.
you know, an invoice that was
Yeah.
slightly over.
Yeah, the water, yeah, the parts for the water department.
Yeah.
Inflation's a lot like gravity. You can't argue with it. It exists. This is a procedure that addresses that. Furthermore, it gives the consumers in town and the taxpayers protection in alliance with what the state law is. It doesn't allow the council to all of a sudden just go, oh, we're going to get $5,000 more. So, you know, creating that alignment makes a lot of sense, and it addresses something that's not going to go away, and that's inflation.
Good conversation. Anybody else? All right, we'll leave her on first.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Next item, Resolution 2026-05. Ms. Hamilton, if you please read it for us.
Resolution number 2026-05, a resolution to adopt and implement a cybersecurity program for the city of Worcester in compliance with Ohio's cybersecurity law and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Rizet, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is another kind of mundane resolution we consider. The city has to develop and has developed a cybersecurity program that we have to kind of keep on our books in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code. And our local IT master, Mr. Dordia, will explain this to us since he introduced it to us.
Yeah, so, last fall, I think it was, House Bill 96 was passed, and it basically requires political subdivisions to have a cybersecurity program. In addition to that, it's not a public record, but interestingly enough, it requires the legislative authority to actually adopt said cybersecurity program. It also goes into some other things. It says that if you're paying some ransomware, you have to actually obtain council approval, because perhaps some entities in the past may not have done so. And then the third main item on there is if you do have what they consider a reported incident, within 7 days, you have to report that to the Ohio Security Integration Center. That's within 7 days, and 30 days, you have to report it to the auditor of state. So that was it. I was going over, we're being audited. So the reason why you're kind of seeing it from me and not the IT department is because we're getting ready to have our financial audit, and this will be part of that audit. And one of the things with the requirements is the council has to, quote, adopt the cybersecurity program.
And Mr. Dordia, there's no cost associated with this. We're not building anything out in our
we've been
network.
We've been doing this.
Basically a process.
It's just basic, yeah. And we update it, I would say continuously. I know we updated it in December, then we updated it again in January. So anytime that, there's different guidance or new threats, you obviously have to adapt.
Yep.
And this we're just adapting because the state's mandating that we have to approve it legislatively.
Yep. And I think that's sort of accountability piece to say, anybody could say, yeah, we got a program, but.
It's not a bad idea in the long haul, because from the standpoint, if there was to be some type of major breach, and then at that point, city, community saying, oh, yeah, we're covered, and then they're not.
Right.
Yeah, so, not an issue from that, but anything further, Mr. Huzay?
Pretty boilerplate.
Yep.
And
And unfortunately, we can't do anything about it tonight, so.
Okay.
Is there any urgency on it?
No.
Okay.
No, the only urgency is the state asked us to do this, is now said we have to do it, and so, but.
And we did have this in place prior to the end of the year.
Yeah.
But if anybody's really interested in it, I'd be welcome to schedule a meeting with our IT department, and we can sit down and go over this.
That sounds scintillating.
You can also ask Mr. Owens, because he went over it today.
Excellent.
You should read it.
I will.
Only 12 pages.
Like I said, it'll be scintillating. Yeah.
I read enough policies as it is.
I think, to your point, there's enough non-public personal information in that we need to do what we need to do. So, yeah, read it.
All right, well, with that has had its first reading. We'll move on to Resolution 2026-06, which actually is an item that we can move forward this evening, but before that, Ms. Hamilton, if you please read it for us.
Resolution number 2026-06, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to purchase a new Chevrolet Tahoe vehicle for use as a police cruiser, including upfit, and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
All right, we're looking to get a new police cruiser, not to exceed 75,000. It is budgeted. It doesn't have a lot of miles on it, but is involved in a shooting. And
Which you watched the video tonight.
yes, and she's probably not going to run anymore, and it's going to be in evidence for a while, so we're going to need to replace it. It's going to have the standard upfits. We should get it this year, I believe, so we don't have nearly the lead times we had in the past. So obviously, you saw the video earlier. We got to get her replaced. So I'll open her up for questions if anybody has any.
I think Andre checked, and that is not covered by the warranty.
No, I think the warranty company's going to say no to that. With no questions, I'll motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second by
Me.
Mr. Paul. It's going to take me a few meetings to get everybody's voices back. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Mr. Owens.
Yes.
Mr. Paul.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Okay. Last item this evening, Resolution 2026-07. Ms. Hamilton, if you please read it for us.
Resolution number 2026-07, a resolution authorizing the Director of Finance to issue payment for services rendered prior to the fiscal officer's certification of availability of funds and providing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, as you heard, we would be issuing payment to ManCan. This is labor for leaf pickup. The issue here was the PO was inadvertently deleted and has to be reestablished. One thing, and I did email y'all so you could understand, in the manager's write-up, the amount that was listed was incorrect, but the legislation amount is correct, which was confirmed with Mr. Dordia. So it would be for the amount of $6,853.77. So the legislation is correct. So got to pay him for the labor, and the PO had to be reestablished. Any questions around that? This is pretty simple stuff. With that, I'll motion to adopt.
Sorry, real quick. Can you walk me through the concept of the certification of availability of funds?
I can. So, any good or service that we obligate ourselves has to have my signature on it saying that the funds are available, or it's not valid. I mean, that's just a ORC requirement. It's nothing that I made up, but it's there to protect, number one, the taxpayer, number two, you, the vendor, the funds are available. So, and I think historically, the reason this was adopted, I could be wrong, this could be an urban legend, but I got into this business a long time ago. But I remember reading a story, like an outgoing mayor, like got beat, and in order to say, how do I say this? In order to cause the incoming mayor grief, they went out and bought a bunch of stuff. You know, they didn't have POs, so the next year that came around, the mayor comes in, and guess what? All these bills are coming in. So, and it put a financial hardship on that, so I'm pretty sure that.
Not local.
No, not local. I'm talking state of Ohio. That's why a lot of those rules come into play. Anyway, but, so yeah, that's, and the reason is, and the state law currently says if there's anything that's 3,000 or under, I can authorize it on my own. But this just happened to be, you know, a PO was liquidated, the bill came in, and it crossed years as well. So I always do the belt suspenders approach, especially with something like that. If it gets pulled from the auditor, they'll question and say, well, you know, the PO, it was done after the invoice, so that's a no-no.
And you can't do that authorization by a auto pen, right? It has to be
No,
actually.
I can't do it auto pen either, but I can sign your checks with auto pen.
Okay. Okay, so the big complication to this was partially it got liquidated, it's
Yeah.
crossing years and, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, like I said. I think a couple years ago I looked at it, and you have 3,000 POs, you may have had one or two that we had to bring to council, so like .007, you know, rate, so, no. But it's, you know, I guess, an accountability feature too, so. Anyway, that's why we try, you know, often we get clean audits is because we come to you with this, I mean.
Okay. Mr. Owens, anything else?
So the money is there.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's not like,
All it is a PO, it's a procedural thing, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yep.
All right, then I'll motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Huzay. Ms. Hamilton, please call the roll on the adoption.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Mr. Paul.
Yes.
Mr. Owens.
yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
All right. Motion is approved. We'll move on to miscellaneous. We've got two people that have signed up. Mr. Barnett, you're first on the list.
starting to write things down so I don't forget. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be 73 next month. Nobody knows the whole future, what the future holds. But I do know this, building this roundabout will depreciate my property and make it much harder to sell. It's going to be about that much. I don't want to move, but eventually my wife and I will have to downsize, and when that day comes, I don't want to lose a big portion of my life savings because of this project. If this roundabout is built, we will take a financial beating. The burden should not fall on the residents who have spent decades building this lives in this neighborhood. I haven't lived there decades, and if I would have known they was going to build this roundabout, there's no way I would have bought this house. It would have been a break deal there. There's no way I would have bought this house. And you know what? I think them people knew about that roundabout, because I haven't lived there that many years. But it will depreciate the property. I haven't lived up there, but a lot of these people have lived up there all their lives. I will take a beating. Everybody will take a beating. I've talked to some people, your market for people wanting to buy that property is going to be like 5%. 5% out of 95%. I don't know. I'm not going away, folks. I want to be here every meeting, speak my piece. I just want to make it clear. I'm not mad at nobody here. I just want what's fair. Okay? And congratulations on your officers, Chief.
Thank you. Andrew Miller.
Oh, I appreciate you guys letting me speak for 2 minutes. Recently, I have submitted an application for BZA, and it has been denied. I purchased the property from sheriff's sale, free and clear, many encumbrances, and it was denied. I do appreciate some of these zoning amendments. I do think they're beneficial. One of those has to do with common areas and developments. So when a developer goes to create a common area, he is stuck with that. He has to retain that, or it's dedicated to Wooster City. So in my case, now that they can pay fees to get out of the taxes for years to come, on my property, the developer went tax delinquent. And so I purchased it as a tax delinquent property. And the reason why he did that was because he was going to be charged tax for years to come. Well, now I have this property free and clear, and it's designated as a common area, and I've been trying to build and develop it. And I noticed it says the Great Seal of the City of Worcester says a community of progress. I appreciate what you guys are doing with the zoning code, but I have been denied to continue with the development of this property. It's being taxed as a buildable lot, and they won't let me build. And I have gone to the engineers as I was told, and they told me it's going to be about $25,000 just to even possibly have a chance of getting approved to make it buildable. I think that's a pretty large expense, considering that the current zoning code states that my property as a common area does not meet the definition as 1135 in the code states, because it's not commonly owned anymore. I'm the sole owner. And also in 1121, it states that a common area can be disposed of as long as the city council approves. There's 75% of the member of the HOA within the development that can vote against it, and also that it's owned by a private owner or an entity to take over it. So at this point, I'm not really sure what to do. I mean, I'm trying to do this right. I don't want to take this legal. I've made that clear, but I feel like I'm being shut down. And I'm not really sure how to proceed from here, but I want to develop this property, or at least make it buildable as I'm being taxed on it. I don't think it's right to be taxed on a property as buildable when I'm not able to build on it. It's dishonest. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll start with you, Ms. Warden.
All right, I would like to congratulate the the officers that were honored this evening. Chief Fisher, you did a great job in presenting your awards to them, and very well deserved. We're lucky and safer to have folks like them at the police department here. And then, as we all know, we've had extreme snowfall, but also extreme temperatures. So I'm happy that we live in a community where we have warming centers, because there are a lot of people that, whether it's power outages or, their housing situation, that they need that this time of year. I am grateful for the city crews, maintenance, police, fire, EMS, all of them that have, we're all hunkered down in the snowstorm and, watching Netflix under blankets, and they're out doing things that, keep us all safer. So I just wanted to thank everybody for that.
All right. Mr. Rowland?
Sure. I would also like to congratulate the officers this evening. Prime examples of what you want out of your police officers, right? The heroism, the helping people, the not even thinking, just rushing into the danger. I also want to give a big thank you to our road crews. My grandfather was a snowplow driver for ODOT, so I know that was not an easy time for them or their families, but I appreciate their hard work and sacrifice, so that way we all can be safe and, get where we have to go. Happy Black History Month, everyone. As the mayor pointed out, Charles Follis Day is tomorrow. If you don't know who he was the first professional black football player. Look him up. He was pretty cool. And with that.
Thank you. Mr. Bizet?
Yeah, thank you, Chief Fisher, to your whole department. You do a great job over there, and your whole crew does as well. And thanks to the whole city crew for showing up this past, when was it? Last week's winter storm. Thank you.
Mr. Paul?
Good evening. I'd like to thank Representative Craig for coming and recognizing the efforts of our officers. I know you have a lot on your agenda, and I appreciate you taking the time to come down to a municipality and recognize two outstanding examples of law enforcement and city employment. As a community, we should take pride in that. I also want to thank the road crews. The job that they've done has been truly remarkable. I got up at St. Mary's the night before the storm, and I addressed the congregation. I said, we're ready for this. We have the right people for it, and I'd like to thank them for not making me a liar. They just went out and did a magnificent job. Final thing that I'd like to bring up is on Saturday, February 14th, 2026, the Bow Wow Ball is going on. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my last 4 dogs have been rescues. So what the Wayne County Dog Shelter and Adoption Center does for our pets and placing them in loving homes is a wonderful service for the dogs, for the people that adopt them, but it does cost money, and the Bow Wow Ball supports that. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year. So if you don't have any plans on Valentine's Day and you're planning to take your significant other out, I'd encourage you to look at the Bow Wow Ball and maybe the dinner afterwards. Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Abernathy?
Chief, I don't know how to put it into words other than I was deeply moved by, the presentation this morning, or this evening, and just the courage of both your officers. I I don't know if everybody understands Wooster Memorial Park, because, I've been running for a long time, and I run those trails. The fact that your officer is able to find her, okay, you can get lost out there. I'm assuming this was maybe in the evening, I don't know. If it's dark out there, it is easy to get lost, and then to be able to find her and save her without incident, that is heroic, because that is dangerous out there. We're talking, you don't know who's out there, you don't know what animals are out there, and it is hard, you could break an ankle easily on those trails if you're not paying attention. And he got out there safely and got her out safely. So, fantastic job. And then Officer Orr, that video says it all. And I thank God he got out of there unharmed. And unfortunately for the vehicle, not so much, but very grateful he got out of there. And, to be a part of your first time ever giving that award is very moving. And it seems very clear by the just by his resume from the last year alone, that is one heck of an officer. So I'm very proud to have him as a part of our police department and part of the city of Worcester, period. So just fantastic job, and great job to you, Chief, having some really outstanding people in your department. So with that, I yield the rest of my time. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. With that, do I have a motion to
Can
adjourn?
I make one final comment?
Oh, absolutely.
Mr. Paul reminded me of something that I would be raked over the coals by some friends if I forgot to mention. Also on Valentine's Day, from 12:30 to 2:30 at the Wayne County Public Library, the Worcester Advocacy Group and the Democratic Socialists of America are co-hosting a food drive event, a give-and-take event where folks can drop off food. If you need food, you can take the food with you. All of the food that is left over will be distributed to local food pantries and other charities around town. So I highly invite you all, encourage you all to come by. It's a good time. And with that, that is my piece.
All right. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
I'll move.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Good evening. Thank you all.